All right, thanks for joining me again. This is episode 3 of the 3-part trilogy on my first deal and all the mistakes I made. So if this is the first episode, you need to check out the first 2 in that order, because I broke down this deal as pre-construction, basically the due diligence period on the mistakes that I made during that process, about financing and finding the deal and taking people's advice and not having a team set up. I get into really deep detail on how to prevent that, or just what you need to keep in mind before you get into a deal, specifically a rehab deal. The second part was the construction side. It was basically where I lost leverage, where I lost time, where I lost money, where I lost a lot of other factors. So I dive into a really deep detail on how to keep that leverage, keep power, keep the structure and the timeline on point, and ways to make sure when you jump into real estate, especially rehabbing, what you want to learn so that you avoid the mistakes that I did, because that's my whole goal. You're here because you don't want to make mistakes. You're here because you want to learn from my mistakes. I'm here because I want to teach you what I learned. I do not do serious rehabs where I do, 15 in a year. I do 1 or 2, if I'm lucky, a year. I concentrate all my energy on those 2 deals, because I do a lot of the managing, I do a lot of the running around and everything in order for me to learn. So I have a lot of knowledge doing it that way to give to you. So this part of it is the post-construction part of the deal. The post-construction. So this is where we're going to go over. I'm going to finally get into my draw schedules to show you all my draws. I could have put that in the construction side, but this is more the numbers side at the end. So originally, like I said, my goal was $50,000. I expected that it was going to go over, right? We all expect there's contingencies and stuff like that. So ultimately, I had a $60,000 adjusted draw sent over to the lender. It ended up being close to $80,000. Long story short, if you didn't see, the last episode, which I highly recommend you do, my budget ended up going to the 80,000s. My ARV, which was originally 380, ended up marketing at 352. So one of the biggest problems that you need to be aware of is doing your own numbers. You need to get familiar doing your own numbers. You need to find an agent who you can work with, take them out to lunch, meet up with them, build a relationship, and go to them, because they're going to be doing you a favor. So go to them. Don't tell them to come to you. Meet up with them, sit down with them, bring them a coffee, and do your numbers on a specific deal that you have under contract. Do your numbers to make sure that the ARV is there. Okay? Now, I recommend you do this before you get it under contract. I happen to get it under contract already, so that's why I kind of ran into this issue. But you need to understand doing your own numbers. I took the advice of a real estate agent who was familiar with the area, but it wasn't good enough, because the ARV ended up being $30,000 less. Now, $30,000 less might not seem like a tremendous amount, but when your bottom line is reliant on that ARV, $30,000 is a huge chunk. If you're going into a deal expecting to make $45,000, and now all of a sudden $30,000 under market value from what you anticipated, that's bad. That's really bad. I mean, that's a loss right there. You're going to lose money on that deal. After commissions, after holding costs, after everything, you're going to lose money on the deal. So 2 things I want to make a very strong point on. 1, set your number. In the beginning of the deal, set your number. How much do you want to make? If you want to make $85,000 on a deal, then that's what you set out for. You look for deals that cover that margin. After construction, after holding costs, after real estate fees and insurance, everything. After that, you're coming away with $85,000. That is the deal that you go after. So if there's a deal that's $78,000, then be firm. No, I'm looking for $85,000. Because it's inevitable. There might be hiccups, problems, issues, delays, and that 85 will turn to 78 in a day. In one day, it can turn from 85 to 78 off of a mistake or a delay. So that's the first point. The first point is set your number, set your margin. Second thing, now get good at evaluating a deal throughout the process so that you understand the ARV is accurate. Your ARV has to be accurate. It is one of the quickest ways to lose money in these deals. So if you don't know, ARV stands for after repair value. So that's why you want your ARV to be accurate. Do not take people's advice. Run your own numbers. Get connected with a real estate agent. Have them show you how they run their numbers, how they come up with it, and then use YouTube. Find out ways. Use Bigger Pockets. Use other platforms that show you the best ways to evaluate properties in your area, comparable properties, very close to your house, because different blocks can change different values. So you want it very close to your house. You want it similar size, same bedrooms, same bathrooms, same style house, and you want it to be renovated, because that's ultimately what you're going to do. And find out the ones that aren't listed, find out the ones that sold within the past 3, 6, 9 months max. I wouldn't go further than that. And really hone in on an accurate ARV. And don't try to fluff up any numbers. Be legitimate, because it's only going to hurt you in the end. So those are the two things that you need to do ahead of time, so that when you're at this point right now, part 3, where you're post-construction, this is where you're going to see the impact of that. Okay, you're going to see your bottom line be adjusted the most, because you can look back and see all the delays in the construction costs. You can see your margin close, and you're getting to the point to sell. So now you're going to see what the market actually wants. And that's the other thing you have to understand. The market is what the price is, okay? You can list anything for any amount of money, but the market is going to tell you what it's worth, because that's what people are going to pay for it. That's what it's worth. A couple things to help you, though, that I didn't do, that I learned, was marketing your deal while you're working on it. If you're in a deal right now and you're not marketing it, posters, meetups, networking, going to local community things, telling them what you're doing, telling them about the house that you're building, selling what it is that you're putting into the house as a benefit, where it's located, anything. You should be marketing it through the entire process. We have so many platforms now, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. There are so many platforms where you can get your project out during the construction process. I did not do that. I thought, when it's time to sell, I'll list it with my agent. They'll do all the marketing. They'll get it sold. And I put all my focus on the construction process. You are not in this business to be construction managers. You're in this business because you want to exit the business. You want to be able to have a system in place. So in order to have a system in place and gain new business, you need to be focusing on systemizing your process and constantly marketing and evaluating and getting more deals. That's where your time needs to be spent, not managing people. So your first deal, though, you need to be involved enough so that you learn a lot. And that's what this process is. You need to take the sacrifice on the first couple deals to learn so that you can build the strategy and then move forward. So after you're marketing the deal, inevitably you're bringing in energy. You're bringing in a buzz about your property throughout the process. So when you're ready to list, it's like the big reveal. You get a lot of people interested. You can connect. Everybody's a warm lead now because you've been talking to a lot of people about it. It makes it easier for your agent. It's just a better way of doing it, and it has the potential to get it under contract before you even finish, which is huge. Those are the pointers that I recommend doing on your part, on your end, to manage money, to keep the integrity of your bottom line, and to set yourself up for the most success. But what you need to also do that will cost you money is you need to stage your home. So this is something that at the time I thought, I don't know, I don't have an extra $3,000-$5,000 to throw into staging, so I didn't stage it. And man, was that a mistake. Staging your house is essential. That should be part of your construction process in your budget. You should have that in your scope of work. Staging. as part of your funds that you take out, because it is essential to make sure staging is part of your process. Staging is proven to get you better offers. It's proven to get you more offers. It shows better on pictures. It's just, there's not a lot of buyers who come in that have the right understanding of the spatial aptitude of the house. Like that, when they walk through, they don't really see what they can do with it. So it's an imperative that you have a good creative stager to come in and set up your house to give people the thought and the visuals that they need to really make that house a home for them. And that can recoup some money. You could end up shelling out $3,000 for staging, but you get an offer $8,000 over asking. So it's a net $5,000. So you have to see the benefits. You have to put the money where it benefits you the most. And staging is one of those areas where you can put money into, where it gets you return on investment. Other than that, as I evaluated my deal and I looked at the draws and I looked at everything, one of the biggest things that I learned from this whole process was the importance of a good team. I told you in the first episode that I didn't have a team at all. I went through a couple teams throughout this process in order to get the job done, but everybody should be an extension of you. Everybody should be on the same exact wavelength. You should be all bought in on a similar goal. So you have to incentivize your team, and you have to develop your leadership skills as a project manager in the beginning, for sure. Not having an appropriate team in this business will absolutely decimate you. You will lose your shirt, and no one will care. If you have people around you that aren't in it for long-term success for you, you're going to lose your shirt and no one's going to care. So in the end, your attorneys, your accountants, your real estate agents, your contractors, your subs, your little handy people that come in and out, surveyors, engineers, whatever it is, every single thing. Now I'm going to put on this video, I'm going to edit it so that you can see, right over here, I'm going to have a list of all the people that are essential for you to have on your team and constantly build rapport. Constantly build rapport with these people, because they are going to be the people who can hold the integrity of your bottom line. So, on top of all of that, this episode, like I said, is about the post-construction side and the numbers on the back end of the deal. So you have to understand, when you have an agent, when you have a stager, when you have these are added costs. So you need to make sure you have these numbers on the front of the deal. So when I purchased the house, I wasn't thinking about the real estate fees, because I was like, no problem. Real estate fees, I don't pay for them, seller does. Well, when I went to sell the house, and now my market value was $30,000 less on top of the real estate fees that I had to pay the agent, on top of taxes, insurance, delays, whatever extensions that I needed for any reasons, all of that stuff is going to drop your bottom line significantly. So I never had a number that I wanted to make on this deal. I just figured, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to learn, I'm going to make money. Market's hot, let's do it. So in the beginning, if I had ran this project perfectly, I probably would have made around $60,000. If you're only going to make $60,000, so $60,000 on a similar job might be okay, because it was pretty much just bathrooms and kitchens. But $60,000 for the amount of time and energy that I put into the deal, it would have been satisfying if it was in the 75 range. If it was $75,000, I would have been okay with it. But what ended up happening was, on this deal, I ended up losing. I ended up losing about $5,000. So throughout the whole project, I didn't even have a number that I considered, okay, this was my number to get into the deal. Didn't even have that. In the end, I didn't run the deal perfectly. It took more time, went over budget, had the wrong ARV, had to switch teams throughout, which caused more delays. Didn't have my necessary holding costs, so I had to leverage credit cards and other other people's money and everything to try to get through the deal. So I had to pay them back, pay the credit cards back, pay everything. In the end, net loss. Huge learning experience, net loss. I don't want you to do the same thing. I want you to be able to be comfortable getting involved in a deal, know your team that you need, already have rapport with trusted people, build your structure, build your system. This is where you'll have your ups and downs, is building the structure and the system throughout. I'm sure you're going to have things that come up that you might end up losing money and everything, but as long as you have your initial number, you know what you can afford to lose. And if your numbers are tight, your ARV's there, and you have the agent, and you're marketing the deal throughout, and you do all that, you're going to give yourself the best chance to succeed. And that's ultimately what I want you to do. I want you to be able to feel comfortable getting into a deal, having a system in place, or building a system, managing the construction, holding the leverage, knowing what to expect when you get to the closing table when you're selling, and then net your profit. That's the goal here. So the rest of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up, I told you I'm going to put up the team that I think. I'm going to put up a couple pointers. I'll edit them in. And then I'm going to throw up my construction draws and my HUD statements. I'm going to blur some stuff out. This way, obviously, people are protected here. But that's it. And I want you to just take the last 2 to 3 minutes. This way, it's keep it under 20 minutes, 25 minutes to go through these HUD statements and go through my draw schedules and just get an understanding of what my first deal looked like and the paperwork that I had for it. So if you enjoyed these episodes, please like, follow, subscribe, whatever. I'm going to be putting out more evaluation of the deals that I've done. I'm also going to be going into a couple other things that I'm passionate about. So whether it's real estate or just perspective on life and things like that. So if you like it, like I said, tag along, and you can always follow me on Instagram. That's probably where I'm the most active, and I'll put an Instagram handle somewhere in the link or somewhere in the video. All right, so stay safe. I want you guys to enjoy the time that you have home right now and work on something. And until next time, take care.